Everybody who finishes the first draft of their screenplay thinks the exact same thing. This is terrible. So let's talk about how to make a better second draft. Well, the first thing that everybody wants to do as soon as they write a terrible first draft is they want to hop under their screenwriting software and they want to start changing lines, they want to start removing scenes, changing around scenes, editing the document, and trying to do everything they can to fix it to somehow make it magically better. But that's getting ahead of yourself. What I always tell people to do first is to read your script. Read it over and over and over again. Read it in the morning when you first get up. Read it in the afternoon after you've had lunch. Read it at night just before you go to bed. Read it all the time, as much as you can, so you know the story inside and out. And when you know the story inside and out, you'll know what can stay in your script and you know what can go. You'll be able to see problems with certain aspects of your script, whether it be the character motivation, whether it be dialogue, whether it be specific scenes or lines. You'll see all of the things that need to be fixed. You'll see that as you read it more and more and more. Think of it like just thorough double checking. Each time you read through your script, a problem will jump out at you. When you read through it the next time, maybe that problem doesn't jump out to you, but then something else jumps out at you. And then you read your script a third time, and then the first problem jumps out at you again. And the way I kind of look at it is, the more that something jumps out to you as something that is negatively impacting your intention with the script, that's when you realize that is something you need to change. So once you read your screenplay a bunch of times through, you'll have a big list of all these things that need to be changed, and you can take it from there and change them. When it comes to taking a quote-unquote bad scene and turning it into a good one, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. This doesn't apply to every single scene because every different scene in every different movie has a different intention, right? They're going for a different effect. So you have to think about what effect your scene is trying to get across. But speaking in general terms, these are three things you can think about to make your scene better. Number one, which you'll hear everybody say, is start late and leave early. This means that the scene should not begin with the character entering a room saying, "Hello, Tim, how's it going? Oh, I'm fine, Bill," blah, blah, blah. That's real life. In a movie, it's way more interesting just to cut in the middle of the conversation. That's when the scene starts. The same thing applies to the second part of that advice, which is start late, leave early. When you leave early, you don't end the scene after Tim and Bill say goodbye to each other and then they leave. You cut out of the scene before their conversation is over, for example. It's a movie, so you're cutting out the fat that exists in real life but isn't necessary in driving your plot forward. The next thing you can be thinking about when you're taking your scene and improving it is really think about what does your character want in any given scene. Think about whose point of view this scene is from. If it's Tim, or if it's Bill, or if it's Fred, or it's Samantha, think about whose point of view this scene is from. That's something you could think about. You can also think about what that character wants. What are they trying to do? What do they say to get what they want? What are they doing to get what they want? What do they not say? What do they not do? Those kind of things work with each other to create tension and a dramatic momentum in your story. And the last thing that I kind of hinted at earlier, which is think about what the purpose of your scene is. Is this a scene that's going to be really long and it's going to be the best scene of the movie, or is this going to be a really short scene that's just in passing that people really won't think about too much? Think about what the intention behind the scene is. And once you know the intention behind that scene and what effect you want to give the audience, you can know how to better improve it. You can also know if it's a detriment to your script and if it needs to be removed.
As you're going through your script page by page, rereading it over and over again, it might become difficult over time to look at it objectively and see what things should stay and what should change within your script. This is where a crucial part of the screenwriting process is to bring other eyes into your project. Let people see the script well before it's ever close to getting rewritten so that you can start getting people's feedback on what parts are resonating with people, what parts maybe feel a little odd, and it can give you some more points of ideas that you can start working into your script. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to start taking every person's ideas and try and incorporate them into your script. You definitely should be as careful with selecting who is going to read your script as possible. You're not going to be asking strangers on the internet for the most part for feedback. The people you should be asking are close friends or other filmmaker colleagues, people that understand what you're trying to tell within your story and you have a close relationship with. You want people who can be honest with you about what's good and bad, but also open with you about the ideas within your script. Now, when looking for feedback from your friends, there's a few things you should be looking out for. Firstly, try and have ongoing conversations with them. Don't make it just a one-off meeting where you guys talk about ideas. Though that can be useful, it's great to have an ongoing conversation throughout your entire screenwriting process. If they just read draft 1, let them see draft 2 as it comes along. If you have ideas you want to bounce off them, let them know those ideas and they can help you, again, pluck out the parts of your ideas that are working well and maybe help you craft some new ideas or repurpose some ideas that aren't working quite as well. Generally speaking, a good rule of thumb is if just one person has an issue with the thing or something stands out to them that's a little odd, you can kind of take that or leave it as it is. If you know that there's a part that people think is a little weird, but it's crucial to your script and you think that it's written in a way that works, that's totally fine to use. But if there's more than one person who's saying there's an issue with a certain part of your script, that might be worth noting and making changes for in the future. Doesn't mean you have to remove that thing entirely, but it does mean that that should be something you're drawing your attention towards as something that could need to change. Like I said, your script is going to constantly be changing and evolving through this process. So you might run into having a draft 1.2 or draft 1.3. This just means there have been small changes to the script that aren't totally restructuring the whole thing or rewriting parts of your script. It might be as simple as adding new dialogue to a scene or rearranging the order of some things. And as you're writing your script, this is going to happen pretty frequently. So don't be afraid to make those changes, but before you start making minute changes, make sure that you are, again, rewriting the whole script in a way that feels really, really solid to you before you start getting into the nitty-gritty of little things to change here and there.
So when is your script actually done? Ultimately, it's done when you're happy with it. Sometimes this means taking 2 or 3 drafts, sometimes this means 30 drafts. Once you've taken into consideration your feedback and your own personal thoughts and put in everything that you can and want to, that's when you know. And of course, the process is always changing. So from scripts to production to post-production, it's always going to be shifting and changing. But right now, all you need to worry about is making the best screenplay that you can.
If you missed our last video that we made about writing the first draft of your screenplay, you can check it out here.
And if you want to see more videos about film and filmmaking, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video.